Hello everyone, it's Becky here from Ivy's Corner and I'm back to do day number 21 of Inktober Tangles 2025. And so day 21 is a lovely little tangle called Butria by Ute Andresen, CZT, and we are going to get straight down to drawing it. So in the step out, Ute has a pencil line initially drawn in her step out. I'm not going to do that technically. I suppose tangles don't have a typical stepped out tangle wouldn't have a pencil line other than a string. We go straight in with pen. That's not to say you can't do that when you're drawing this. If it gives you a bit more confidence, then you can do a kind of a deep V shape to begin with in pencil if that helps you to kind of fill the space that you're working in. But this pattern is nice. It's kind of, I suppose it's not dissimilar to bee fly that we had a little while ago in that it kind of looks like a butterfly, but you can kind of put them together and create a lot of different kind of looks to this to make it less butterfly-y if you're not one to do anything that's too representational. I'm going to go straight ahead and just start off by doing a nice inky dot like so to begin with, and then I'm going to do a line through that. So this is going to kind of be the centre of our pattern initially at least. And then the next step after this is to draw, I mean in the step out Ute has a different way of doing this, but I find that actually doing this way is more helpful for me. I'm going to do a nice sort of seed shape coming out of the bottom of this. So there's our seed shape coming out of our dot there at the bottom, and then I'm going to come up this way, and I'm also almost going to kind of continue this line in a way. So it's like I'm drawing around here and continuing this line up this way. So we have these two kind of stalks coming out here. And then we're going to add a couple more aura lines in the centre of this space that we've created here. So another curved line out like this way, and then likewise on this side. And then once more to fill the gap between this line and our sort of seed shape that we've got here. So we're just making those lines a little bit smaller at the bottom there. And this kind of looks like a little insect, I think. And I suppose in a way, you know, this is kind of a butterfly style tangle. So there's a couple of options for what you can do now, depending on how much you want it to kind of look and feel like a butterfly. So I'm going to start off by continuing this line here to kind of curve it and bring it round here. And I'm not going to quite come to the end here. I'm going to do that on both sides. And then I'm going to create these almost petal shapes from the edges of these lines that we've created and bring them in. And so this is quite a kind of a puffy sort of version, and that is the kind of the main focus of the tangle, but you can also then come in here and ink these spaces in between to give you a little bit more depth and kind of boldness to the pattern, I suppose. And that's the main pattern. Which is quite pretty, and you can kind of link them together or mirror them or whatever you want to do in order to kind of create maybe a florally type shape. I think I'm going to also just add a little bit of ink on the top here as well. But you can see how it kind of looks like a butterfly. I've seen some versions of it where people also do little antennae as well. I'm going to show you a couple of other versions of doing this. Just to kind of for a variation before we go ahead and shade it. So one way I tried doing this was to kind of, rather than have this kind of line across the centre and then draw the seed shape, was to kind of create the seed shape from two big curved lines. So drawing down like this and then up this way. So I've created my seed shape from these two intersecting lines here. And now I'm going to draw this line across the centre. And I'm going to go ahead and just add my other curved lines in like this. And then again, because I added the curved lines around the edges to make the wings, one other thing that you can do, and this makes it kind of look a bit more bat-like, but is to kind of curve those lines in. So like this. Maybe a little bit more Halloween-y for, obviously it is October. And the shops around where I live are all full of things to do with treats and Halloween and fancy dress and that sort of thing. So that you can see how that kind of is just a slightly different version of the same pattern. Let's do one more here. And this one I'll show you with the V of the the step out suggests. So it begins with this kind of V shape here, and then Ute draws across the centre with her dot in the middle, and then she adds these top parts here, and then the seed shape at the bottom, and then the additional lines in the middle, like so, and then kind of goes ahead to add a few little curves to the edges here as well. So this is quite small now, I'm tangling this, but it gives you an idea of the different ways that you can kind of create the same pattern. And that is 3 versions there of Butria by Ute Andresen. So let's go ahead and shade that. With the shading, I mean, as ever, I say this in all of the different lessons that I'm doing here, you can shade it in any way that you like. I'm going to kind of just go with what feels right for me today, which is just shading on one side of these lines. On this one, I suppose this one is a slightly more floral version. But the nice thing about this is if you had like a V shape or a border, you could kind of put them in upside down, one after the other. That would be a really nice way to kind of add this pattern that wasn't in such a butterfly-ish way. And you know, you could do all sorts of other things with it. You could make it into kind of use this as a quarter of a square almost, to it kind of with more of a right angle, or a similar kind of, you know, tessellated shape would also work really nicely. So there's lots of different options really. And I've just added a little bit of graphite, excuse me, to shade this up. And then I'm just very gently smoothing that so we can see how it looks with a little bit of shading. But yeah, there's lots of options for this one, so you can have a play with it and see which way you prefer to draw this particular pattern. And there you have it. It's quite a cute little pattern, this one. So we are on day number 21. Day 21, and this is Butria by Ute. Oops. By Ute Andresen. There you go. I hope you enjoyed that little lesson, and don't forget to hit like and subscribe to my channel for more videos. I'm posting every day in Inktober, and you can also follow me on all the usual social media. I'd love to see what you create after following this video. Thank you so much, and I will see you tomorrow.